Floaty Goaty Lore, Volume 2, Chapter 8, The Urban Rescue Ranch. It's been over a year since the attacks of Quack Sparrow. Floaty Goaty, just playing Fall Guys as usual, jumps up and realizes that they forgot to save Uncle Ben last year. There's simply no way he's still alive. Floaty Goaty gathers up the gang and reminds them, no one remembered. Floaty Goaty then teleports everyone to the Smurf Cat Ocean, but not before collecting Quack Sparrow's beak. He added it to his weapon and headed towards the ocean where they last saw him. Floaty Goaty then flew down and gave everyone water-breathing abilities. When they entered the ocean, they found the same pipe they had gotten sucked into last year. Floaty Goaty then led the gang into the pipe and expected it to be flooded, but it was actually fully repaired. It was covered in lush greenery and absurdly beautiful. Is this what Uncle Ben has been doing for the whole past year? The gang explored the area thoroughly, but they still never found Uncle Ben. That's when Floaty Goaty found a secret elevator. It had 10 buttons for 10 floors, and they were on the 10th floor. Floaty Goaty then pushed the 9 button, and the gang went down to the 9th floor. There, they found a room full of gorgeous flowers. However, with such a nice interior comes intruders. The gang had to fight off lots of robbers of all different species, including goats. So Hashi beat the living hash browns out of them and let them go, defending his sidekick's treasures. They then searched the room again, but still couldn't find Uncle Ben. Hashi was starting to get worried, so he rushed to the 8th floor with the rest of the gang. There they found a storage room full of farming equipment and dirt. But even still, there were intruders here. Needless to say, Floaty Goaty scared them away. They then searched the area even more and found nothing. They then decided it would be best to fully search the room. They searched the boxes and found some sorts of enchanted farming tools, seeming to be weapons in disguise. Of course, intruders would want to steal these. They searched the whole thing and found so many weapons, it seems Uncle Ben is hiding some secrets from the rest of the gang. So they decided to head down to the 7th floor, where they found tons of crops and seemingly endless fields. No one could have ever imagined this. It was simply impossible. This place was just off the shore. How are these fields extending so far? Most importantly, how will they ever find Uncle Ben in these fields? They searched far and wide with no sight of him. It was just fields as far as the eye could see. Some of the gang were starting to lose hope, but Hashi kept pushing them to keep going. So they got back in the elevator and went down to the 6th floor, where they found tons of injured animals. From goats to prairie dogs to rheas, pretty much everything that wasn't extinct. Floaty Goaty then pieced together the evidence and found out what Uncle Ben has been doing the past year. They found so many animals with casts and all sort of medical equipment on, waiting to be healed. Floaty Goaty healed one with his powers, and it immediately got teleported back to its kingdom. Floaty Goaty didn't want to wreck Uncle Ben's business, so he let him do the rest of the healing. They moved down to the 5th floor, where they saw a wide range of medical equipment, and even more intruders. When they saw the gang, they immediately backed down and stopped their stealing. Floaty Goaty then searched the room, but he didn't find anything worth noting. So they headed down to the 4th floor, where they found more fields. They searched them far and wide, but again, no sign of Uncle Ben. So they headed to the 3rd floor. More animals, and still no sight of Uncle Ben. So they headed to the 2nd floor, closing in on the final floor. Again, just more medical equipment, and no Uncle Ben. The gang was under the final floor. They got in the elevator and hoped for the best. When they walked in, they found even more fields, but this time it was different. It seemed unfinished. Then they peeked behind the elevator. There they found Uncle Ben. He was so happy to see them all again. He said that he was running an animal hospital and it was almost ready to be opened. He said that he didn't come back during the Quack Sparrow fight because he was stuck in here, but when Quack Sparrow died, he called him and told him. No, when Quack Sparrow died, Hashi called him and told him. He then started to worry less about the fight and more about where he was. He fixed the hole Floaty Goaty made and started renovating the place. He built an entrance, an elevator, and 9 more floors. Unfortunately, though, he wasn't getting many customers. So Floaty Goaty decided to do him a favor for helping out so much. He built a big sign at the entrance decorated with bright lights reading, The Urban Rescue Ranch. Floaty Goaty then went to all the hospitals around Goofy Planet and advertised Uncle Ben's hospital to the employees. Eventually, every medical worker on Goofy Planet was working for Uncle Ben, and he was making bank. He made so much money that Floaty Goaty needed a vault to store it all. He decided to share his money with the gang for everything they did to help him. Floaty Goaty then asked if he could use one of his farming tools to which he sincerely agreed. Floaty Goaty flew out with his speed to Goatshire, where he added it to his weapon. He then flew all around the planet and searched for injured animals. He directed them to Uncle Ben's hospital, and customers were flooding in. It was perhaps the most peaceful and exciting moment in the entire century. Uncle Ben was thrilled. He let the workers heal the animals and let the Urban Rescue Ranch run while he went on more adventures with Floaty and the gang. They then set off to see how strong the weapons that Uncle Ben had crafted really were. That's where they found Eggin the Houses, a very well-known villain known for his weaknesses. As soon as Eggin saw the gang, he tried to take them down with his cringy remarks and big nose. Floaty Goaty let Uncle Ben take him on with his newly crafted weapons. It was really easy to take him down, as he wasn't exactly the smartest individual. They then decided Uncle Ben would have to try his weapon on something more powerful. They headed over to the battlefield where he battled Floaty Goaty. He set up an instant healing device that would remove any pain from attacks and instantly heal any wounds. This would be the ultimate test. Immediately, Floaty Goaty was winning, using his wide variety of attacks against Uncle Ben. But then, something awakened inside Uncle Ben. He gained an immense amount of strength that propelled him to not give up. He hit Floaty Goaty multiple times, causing him to stumble back. Floaty Goaty was surprised, as not a lot of things can do that. Uncle Ben had crafted some serious weapons. Floaty Goaty knew that Uncle Ben would be able to take part in some of the biggest battles like never before. Just then, they heard some sounds coming from Goofy Kingdom. More specifically, Goofy Tower. They looked over and saw a huge, familiar shadow. What could this shadow be? Floaty Goaty had a valid guess. He looked up at the shadow and looked back at Hashi, who was having flashbacks of over a decade ago. Thunder struck behind the creature, and the year-long peace on Goofy Planet was over.